Welcome back to the halftime show here on the PAC Sports Network. And time now to sit down with DP Harris, Saint Vincent Bearcats head coach. And DP, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thank you, Randy.
Now, DP, you're making your return to Saint Vincent and the PAC after a successful 2-year stint at St. Thomas University in Florida, including a 22-win season a couple of years back. How was your stop, number one, at St. Thomas, and ultimately what led you back to St. Vincent?
What led me back to St. Vincent, unfortunately, was my mom getting sick, and part of it was I wanted to come back home. Obviously, we still own our house in Boca and everything, and but it was time to come back home with friends. And raised by a single mom, I didn't want my mom to die alone, and I was very fortunate. In my belief to come back. I got to take a year off and get away from the game a little bit. And I didn't plan on coming back. And then, some of the leadership and where the program was going, and that's no disrespect to Coach Smith, but, we needed to turn the ship. And, I don't think I'll be here another 16 years, but I think I'll be here long enough that we'll be able to hang a few more of those banners and certainly get this thing going in the right direction.
And that first and foremost, in terms of life matters, our condolences, on your mom, our sympathy there. And we know it won't take you long to get the rebuild going. It's been a roller coaster season so far. 7-2 start. The Bearcats have lost 5 straight coming into tonight's broadcast. Give us your take on the season to this point with a young group.
I think overall it's been a successful season, and I think adversity brings out the best in people. And I really like the adversity that our team is experiencing, because this is going to be some of that pay dirt that helps us later on as we get back to our pedigree, our championship pedigree here. And the other side of it is we had early success and a little bit of false hope, right? I just think for our players, and we've added some new pieces, and we took too long off at the break. We had a very long Christmas break, and our players are creatures of habits, and we were really in a good flow. But unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. So, we need to get back on the bus here and put 2 feet on the ground and get a W and try to win 5 in a row.
Well, looking at some of your guys that have helped drive the bus so far this year, freshman Jaden Gale is one of the top players and certainly freshman in the PAC this year, averaging almost 18 points per game, nearly 8 rebounds per game as well. He was a state champion at Bishop Canevin, WPIAL Class A Player of the Year. How bright of a future does Gales have?
I think he's going to be a great player here. He's chasing some big shadows for sure. People compare him to guys who are playing professionally, and he's got a long way to go. But he's a humble young man who fits in the fabric of St. Vincent very well. I like the fact that he is an honor roll student. And I like the fact that he has 2 wonderful parents who have raised him the right way. I wish I had 2 parents like his parents. His father gets rambunctious at times, but I like that as well. But at the same time, I'm very proud to have him in a Bearcat uniform, and I think his future is really bright here.
The elder statesman of the team is grad student Shamar Bennett, back with the Bearcats after a year off. How much of a lift is it to have Shamar's experience and athleticism back on the floor?
I always get a big smile on my face when people talk about Shamar. He'll make you smile and he'll make you cry. And I say that because he has so much talent. And then sometimes he'll just go to sleep on the other side. And that's no disrespect to him, but he's a really good player. It's funny, when I was in Florida, I remember he got like 2nd team or 3rd team all conference or something. And I was with a group of coaches, and they were like, is that the ACC? And but Shamar still has to hang a banner. He still has to find a way to win a championship. But I will tell you what he has done. He's been a pretty positive leader in our locker room and positive with the young guys. And that is not to go without frustration. when you're 20 some years old and the rest of the team is 18, I think Shamar's 22, 23 years old. The rest of the guys are 18 years old besides Andrew Reed. There's a separation. But for the most part, Shamar's done a great job. And, we have great kids. We're very lucky.
One of the newcomers to the team, Mike Isolino, mid-year transfer out of Bryant University. Mike has a Saint Vincent pedigree, as you would say. Is his dad an former associate head coach under you from 2008 through 2012? What's it like to have the younger Isolino on the team, and what kind of impact do you expect from him?
Well, I have a really strong personal relationship with Michael, and so does my wife. We were friends with Coach Isolino and his wife. We've had several dinners together since he was 8 years old. We know his sister. My wife has baked him berry pies, and so it's wonderful to see him play. But unfortunately for Michael, he's going to get Coach Harris for those 5 hours that I get to be the head coach. And I'm going to be harder on him than anybody on the team. And if I didn't do that, I would be letting his parents down. And Michael fits in here. He did not come here to play basketball. He came here for the next 40 years of his life. He's going to be an engineer. He's going to be extremely successful. Basketball played a very little role in him coming to St. Vincent. He is a very intelligent young man. He's somebody who can shoot the basketball. And to be quite honestly, he has underperformed since he's been here. But that is to be expected. He really hasn't played in a year and a half. So we'll give him that opportunity. And I think you'll see that the best of him come in February and the years to come.
You mentioned him as one of the older players or experienced players on the roster. Junior Andrew Reed, the team's point guard. His father, Anthony, a 1,000-point scorer at Cleveland State, two-time USA Today, West Virginia Player of the Year at Wheeling Park. Obviously, the good bloodlines are there. How much of a leader is Andrew at the point guard spot for you?
Well, you missed the most important thing. I played with him in high school. His father and I have known each other since we were about 8 years old. His father was truly the team that changed the NCAA tournament when they only had, I think, 32 teams in NCAA tournament, and then they moved and they expanded it. But Anthony was great. But his son is knocking the rust off. Not playing very well right now. I mean, one of the stats I will tell you, he's shooting 27% from the three. He's got a bad case of the flu, and we're hoping he gets better, as the game goes into tonight. But at the end of the day, he wants to be a coach. So he's going to find out and this is a great learning experience for him, what a coach has to do when you have your point guard playing the way he's been shooting the ball. And I expect him to lead the team in a better manner. This kid has great leadership skills. He's finding his way back into the game. Like I said, he hasn't played in 2 years. So we have a lot of basketball in front of us that's going to get a lot better. So for him, we need him to manage our team a little bit better.
Juniors, Taylor McNeil, he's a transfer out of the College of Worcester, has started all 14 games. Junior Ossian Jones has seen time as a starter as well. What do those guys bring to the table?
I think they're both the same. They're downhill players. I think they're guys who really have a nose for the basketball. And if I could run all the players into each other, we'd have like an NBA team. But unfortunately, they all have different skills that complement themselves. But I do like the athleticism of those guys. And they have a little bit more grit and toughness that they're showing. But I like the growth of both of those young men.
Touching on some guys off the bench, Diego Martinez, a nice post player out of Spain. A freshman, Jacob DeMott, he brings a championship pedigree as well from Fox Chapel High School. What can you say about those guys?
I think both of those guys. Diego's just a tough guy. He hasn't played the last 2 games because of a very sprained ankle. We thought he broke it, but he'll be back in a uniform tonight. And then certainly Jake the Snake. He's Shaky Jake. We love him. The smart kid. I wish he was about 6'2". Unfortunately, he's like 5'8". But he can shoot the basketball. He brings a lot to the team. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think he would see any time at all. Those fellas at Fox Chapel did a great job with him, and we like his future here.
And we're 8 games into the 20-game conference schedule at this point, nearing the midway point. What does Saint Vincent need to do to have a strong second half and make a push in the PAC tournament?
It's very simple. We're 11-3 basketball team right now. If we make foul shots, which is very much in our control, and improve our shot selection. And the other thing, and I know you know this, in my coaching career, I'm a Wheeling, West Virginia guy, so heavily I was influenced by Skip Prosser and a bunch of guys, and I always looked at their careers. We've always been tough defensive teams that rebound the basketball. For most of my career, we've been 1-2 in rebounding, and right now we're not even close to that. Our goal in the second half of the season is 1-2 in rebounding. Like for 40 minutes in practice, we'll do rebounding and defensive drills. If we get better on that side, making a foul shot, just stepping up, taking a breath, and finding the center of the cup. You know, that's pretty easy. I think I can do that at 53 years old. I'm an old man, but that's pretty simple. So I expect that to happen. And I expect us to gel a little bit better. There's one young man who has far outreached our expectation is Jaden Bailey. He is knocking on the door of being a starter here. And he has done a phenomenal job. And I just didn't want to miss that contribution that he's made, because he's one of the guys who has done everything: rebound, make foul shots, play as a team player. He's done a really fabulous job. So that really is warming our hearts here in Bearcat Land.
At St. Vincent head coach DP Harris. DP, thanks so much for your time and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
We'll have the second half of today's game when we come back in just a moment.